What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our college football channel. We continue with our 2022 predictions. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish are up next. Here are some of the predictions for Notre Dame. You see the FBI has them around 9 and 3, 9.1 and 2.9. So they do expect this team to go 9 and 3, maybe 10 and 2, but not giving them a great chance at that. Athlon has them at 9 and 3 as well. The over/under is at 9.5. So it seems like the predictions out there, the perception for Notre Dame is that they will be a 9 and 3 or 10 and 2 team this year. Not quite a playoff team, but still, they're expected to have a good season. My thoughts on this team, I tell you what, it's kind of the same story that it's been for a while with Notre Dame. I think that they are a really good team. I think they're going to be very solid. But I haven't seen anything to make me think that they can take that next step and be an elite team. Keeping Marcus Freeman, who was of course already on staff as the head coach, I think was a great move. I don't really expect there to be a lot of issues with the coaching staff and everything. So, and the talent's there to be a really good team. Not in Alabama, not in Georgia, but the talent is there for this team to be good. I'd like to see them open up the passing game a little bit, get some help at wide receiver. I think that could go a long way in them taking that next step. But they're going to have a really good offensive line. The defense is going to be very solid. Run game will be there for them. And they'll have, we'll see how the passing game looks. That's going to be, I think, the big question for them. All right, so let's get into the schedule here. You see, they, of course, open up with that big game against Ohio State on the road. I've already done my Ohio State predictions. And what I said in that video is I just think that Ohio State offense is going to be too explosive. I don't see Notre Dame keeping up with them. Notre Dame's defense might can slow them down a little bit, but this Ohio State offense, it's going to be really good this year. Probably the best in the country. And because of that, I think Ohio State will pull away in the second half. Playing at home, it's just going to be tough. In my opinion, it's going to be tough for Notre Dame to win this game. So I'm going to say they start off the season with a loss. They'll play Marshall after that, of course, a much easier opponent. I don't expect them to have much trouble there, so I think they will improve to 1-1. Cal comes up next. They will play then the third week of the season at home. Cal is a team that, you look at them, they lost some close games last year, but then they lost a lot of talent from that team last year, a lot of production. And so I don't expect Cal to be great this year. They'll be a decent team. This won't be a complete blowout. It won't be a 50-7 game or 49-7 game, whatever. But it won't be a game where Notre Dame really struggles. You'll know from start to finish that they are going to win this game, and they'll wind up winning it by 17 to 20 points, somewhere in that range. So I think they get the win there. They improve to 2-1. They'll play North Carolina. Of course, no Sam Howell, and they were really disappointing last year. I was very high on North Carolina. And I just think that the depth for them, it's not quite there yet. They've, had a really good recruiting class, but it takes time. And I don't see North Carolina being a great team this year. They could be a surprise team. We'll see. I think they're more like a borderline, 6-6, 7-5 type team probably. It's on the road, so we'll see how it plays out. North Carolina will probably score some points in this game, but I don't know if their defense is going to be able to slow down really just the rushing attack for Notre Dame. So I think Notre Dame will win this game by a couple of scores, and I think they will improve to 3-1 before heading into the month of October. They'll play BYU after a bye week. They're going to play this game out in Las Vegas. This will be a good game. BYU is going to be a good team this year. A lot of experience coming back for them. I think Notre Dame has a little bit of an edge talent-wise. The game, it's not a home game for BYU, but of course it is out west, so that might help them a little bit. But of course, Notre Dame fans, I'm sure they'll travel well. I expect this to be more like a 50-50 game. I don't know for sure how it's going to play out. That would just be my guess. And again, I just think Notre Dame is a little bit better than BYU. Both teams are really good. BYU, again, very experienced, but Notre Dame a little bit better. They win a very close game. I think it'll be a one-score game, one of the better games in the non-conference, but I'm going to go with Notre Dame to improve to 4-1. They play Stanford after that. They'll be home in this one. Stanford's a sneaky good team this year. I think people might be overlooking them just a little bit. I expect Stanford to give Notre Dame a fight, but playing at home, it's hard to go against Notre Dame in this one. I think they will win, but I do think that'll be a close game. I think it'll be a good one. They'll play UNLV after that. Expect them to win that one. So 6-1 will be the record heading into Syracuse on the road. I'm not high at all on Syracuse. I don't think they're going to be very good this year. So I think Notre Dame will win that game fairly easily. Then they'll play Clemson on November the 5th, first game of the month. It's going to be a big one, especially if they're 7-1, and I believe I had Clemson undefeated up to this point. That'll be a game day type game, top 10, maybe top 5 matchup. Really, really big game. I haven't seen the explosiveness. We didn't see that from Clemson last year on the offensive side of the ball. I don't know if they'll improve this year or how much they'll improve. I think they'll be better. But I think that plays into Notre Dame's hands a little bit. If it's a lower scoring game, a defensive game, plus they're playing at home, I think Notre Dame will win this game. I think it'll be close, but I think they upset Clemson and move on to 8-1. They play Navy after that in Baltimore. Navy hasn't been as good as they. There were a few years there where Navy started looking pretty good, but I don't expect them to be very good this year. I think Notre Dame wins that game pretty easily. Boston College comes in next on November 19th. Some people think this could be a sleeper team in the ACC. They bring their quarterback back, but if you look at the entire roster, I'm not as high on Boston College. They lost a lot of guys, and so I think that this is a game that Notre Dame should be able to take care of business in. Not a blowout, but I think they'll win it by at least a couple of scores at home. You have to wonder a little bit, are they going to be looking ahead to USC, especially if they are going into this game 9-1. They're in the playoff conversation. If they can win out, they'll maybe have a chance to get in. And so there could be something like that where this game could be one of those upset alert type games. But that usually happens if you go on the road. Playing at home, I think Notre Dame will be able to handle this one. Again, I think they do beat Boston College, and I have them improving to 10-1 before their final game of the season. That one is against USC on the road. Rivalry game here. This is going to be a good one. I think this is going to be really good this year. The problem for Notre Dame here is it's kind of like with Ohio State. I think USC's offense is going to be so explosive when you look at all the talent they have, especially in the passing game. This USC offense, I don't think anyone's going to shut them down. They're going to score points in every game that they play. Now, the defensive side of the ball could be an issue for them. So Notre Dame probably able to run the ball in this game, probably going to be able to score some points. But will it be enough? I just think that USC offense is just going to be a little too good in this game. Playing at home, rivalry game. And with USC, they have a lot of new pieces. And by the end of the season, it could really be clicking for them. If it was earlier in the year, I would think that Notre Dame had a better chance. But being that last game of the season, I think that bodes well for USC in this one as well. I'm going to take the Trojans to give Notre Dame their second loss of the season. So I've got this team going 10-2, losing 2 games on the road, winning the rest of the games. So losing the first one and losing the last one, but winning all those games in between. 10-2, a little bit higher than some of the other projections. I look at the schedule, and I think Notre Dame is clearly better than these other 10 teams. Maybe BYU is a little bit closer to them. Well, Clemson, of course. So, yeah, BYU and Clemson, Ohio State, USC. You've got 4 games there where those should be challenging games for Notre Dame. And if they split them, they go 10-2, and I think that's what's going to happen. So that is my prediction for Notre Dame for the upcoming 2022 college football season.